Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max! Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Hello, and welcome to the Happy Jack's RPG Podcast.
Hello. Stu, I like what you've done with yourself.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes. I figured the long hair was a new way to go.
Yeah, the polymorph potion was
Highly successful. Absolutely.
Apologies.
yeah.
As you probably noticed, I'm not Stu. My name is Kimmy, and welcome to the Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. This is Season 20, Episode 6.
Yes.
So, before my hosts are, starting over here.
Hi, I'm Gina.
This is Jim.
This is Storg.
Yes. And I actually didn't
That's my
realize...
mom.
Ooh, amazing.
Yeah.
I actually
Apparently
didn't...
Happy Jack's is on.
We are! It's amazing!
I should watch that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, just now realized how much I never listen to what Stu says in this part of the show. So you can actually follow us on social media. You can find us at Happy Jack's RPG on Instagram, on Twitter.
Yep.
We are Happy Jack's RPG
Facebook,
Live
Tribe.
on Twitch. We might be on Tribe. I think they took down that website.
Yeah.
We also are on YouTube. You can find us if you go to happyjacks.org/YouTube, happyjacks.org/Twitch, Happy Jacks RPG on Facebook. We also have a Facebook community. You can also go to happyjacks.org/forum and argue with people all the time, and it's so much fun. And
It's not that bad. I've been on
No.
forums that
It's
are
fun.
so much worse.
Oh, yeah.
Don't downplay
Yeah.
that.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Our community is 95% polite, and there's a 5% probably that isn't so much.
97.
So, but they're better
I think it's like
they're better than the
98.
worst people. They're better than even the best people on a lot of other forums.
No,
It's true.
absolutely.
Yeah, they're awesome.
We argue about gaming stuff because
Yeah.
that's what we do, but it's not like angry, arguing.
They're
It's like
really
debate is the word. Like we
Yeah.
passionately debate each other, and then we drink lots of beer
And
together.
for the most part,
Super-
everybody on our forums, I mean, seriously, is
Great
very,
people.
very. Their arguments are well thought
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
and they're usually very
Oh.
polite.
like
thoughtful
crazy,
and cogent.
smart, and funny people. They're way funnier than us, so you should go to the forums.
Yeah.
They're
Totally.
super funny.
And we have a Discord, which there's a link in the chat room right now. If you search for Happy Jack's RPG on Discord, there's a whole chat there, and there's actually a Sam in her horns like emoji that they've created, so you can actually.
That is
It's
awesome.
really amazing.
And Sam
really
and her
amazing.
horns is
That
from one
is-
of our games.
Yeah.
Yes.
cool.
So, so a bunch of crazy stuff happening at Happy Jack's right now because of the awesomeness of Gina. And
Oh.
because she's been learning how to run the system.
Oh, yeah.
And Jib is running another game for us, so we've actually been able to add a whole nother night of games to our schedule that are coming up soon.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
it is so exciting. So 2 more
Yep.
games on our
Should we tell them
roster.
what the new game's going to be?
Yeah, do you want to do it? Do it.
Sure. The new game is called The Spaniard's Ghost, and we will be pirates.
Yeah.
I'm really.
Arr.
I love
I'm
writing.
so glad you didn't say we be butt pirates.
No. But I'm
No.
having so much fun writing all like the ads and stuff for that. It's like, "Yar, mateys, come and watch. You be off the map. There are these things," and it's just
It's
so
hard
much
to
fun.
type with 2 hooks.
It is. But yeah, So,
Yeah, my boss types.
yeah. Oh, really? Oh, that would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, the
me too.
two-finger typing?
No, he's not quite that bad.
I was going to say, how old is he?
He's younger than I am.
Oh, okay.
He
That's
just
weird.
never had a good teacher like me. He was like,
Yeah.
"No, you type like this."
The hunt and pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the games we're adding.
Right.
Mac, who is of beautiful green hair fame
Yeah.
from our Vampire the Masquerade game.
Oh, is it green this month?
It's green. It's super bright green, and everyone's like on the forum is talking
gorgeous.
about it, and in the
Yeah.
chat room they always are like, "What
That's
color
right.
green do you use?"
She makes her own.
Yeah, she does. She mixes
Yeah.
a couple different
Peacock and something else.
something.
Yeah.
I heard.
Twitter her about it. She'll
Yeah.
tell you. And she's going to be running a Werewolf Wild West game called Razor Ridge. So that should be really
Cool.
exciting because she does all things werewolf. So. And that one's
is
fun too
cool.
because it's like, yeehaw! Pack those silver bullets in your 6-shooter. And, sorry, I'm having so much fun with these.
Are you in that game?
No, I'm not in that game. Samantha's in that game, and Jess from the Vampire are in that game. Nick from Tomorrow Legion, and
Okay.
she brought in a new friend of hers named Pope, who's going to be also in that game.
Cool.
So some familiar faces and some new faces.
Cool.
And then, last but not least, we have one that just got kind of thrown together in the last couple days called Interpol X, which is going to be sort of a We're still trying to find the feel of it. It's going to be in Monster of the Week, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse system. It's going to be run by my friend Adam, who's a really awesome Powered by the Apocalypse GM. And I know him from teaching him how to weightlift. And Jason, who is in our Masks game and ran Desert of Despair as a GM. He's going to be in that game. And then we're bringing 2 new people in. Mike, who's a total newbie. He's gamed before, but never on stream. And also Jessica, who is like the star of our Tabletop Day long stream. She was like, oh, I've never played a tabletop game before, and this will be fun. And she came and played our Masks game in the Tabletop Day one-shot. She was like the funniest, like everyone loved her. She was amazing. So we've actually finally roped her into being in a campaign.
Way too many Jessicas.
There's way too many.
In the
Yeah.
cast.
So she's Jessica, the other one is Jessie.
Okay.
So that's how we're differentiating right now if you're getting confused. But she's hilarious, and I was actually totally blown away. It was the first time she gamed, so we're excited that she's coming back for more. And she's like, I don't know about a campaign. And we're like, no, do it. Do the thing. Do it.
Do the thing.
So we made her do that. So, yeah, so it's very exciting. A bunch of new stuff happening. And then Sunday, we're starting Dead Rain, which Gina and I are in. And that's presented by Palladium Books, which is very, very exciting. And that's about zombies. And I really don't like zombies.
It is. Yeah.
I'm excited to play that game, but it wasn't until like I started like reading the book and I'm like, oh god, this is why I don't watch Walking Dead, because then I sit and obsess about it before I go to bed every night. And I'm like, oh god, what's that weird sound in the backyard? Have I watched the news lately? Okay.
But it's not the zombie things that always freaks me out. It's the how bad people are to each other.
Oh, really?
No,
That's the
in
worst
Walking
part.
Dead, that's the worst.
Yeah.
That's what zombie movies are really about, is how bad people are to each other.
It's like
when things
the
get bad.
total, the destruction.
I don't know, because I don't ever watch zombie movies because they really upset me.
Except for Zombieland, that was good. Zombieland, they were all good to each other.
Yeah, but Zombieland was also comedic.
It's kind of a parody.
See, I'm all about the old school
and
stuff.
Shaun of the Dead, that was good. But even still, there's
Return of the Living
they do
Dead.
bad things to each other.
That one I saw.
80s. That one's awesome.
Yep.
No,
And I
we'll
still
do
highly
that.
recommend Fido. If you
28
think
days.
you've seen every zombie movie, go watch Fido.
Yeah.
It's
I've not seen
post-apocalyptic, and they figured out how to control zombies, so everybody has a pet zombie.
Yeah. It should be, So Dead Rain
Like
should be
Michonne.
super interesting. We're finishing up character creation.
Yeah.
We're actually not going to do character creation on stream for that game. And that will be run by Stu and Kadave.
Yeah, our first co-GM on camera.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that should be interesting.
Then
I don't
Stu's
know what I'm
never
going to have to do with the
co-GM.
camera. So
I know, that's why I almost asked
And also
Dave,
just had
like,
this image of Dave sitting on Stu's lap
be very
while
cool.
they GM.
They're
I
big
suppose we could
guys,
do,
too.
like,
You have to get
this
the wide
corner
angle
of the table.
Yeah.
And then just be,
Just do it, the
Yeah.
thing, or make them sit very close to each other.
yeah.
Like one on each, like one cheek on the seat, and for each of them, it'll be great.
Oh, they could sit on each other's laps.
Yes,
That would
exactly.
be adorable.
So yeah, okay, we probably should actually get to the show.
Okay.
But now that we've talked through everything we're super excited about.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining us. We're all done. Checklist. Look, I did all that. Excellent. This entire block should be no more than 1 to 2 minutes. Oops,
Yeah.
I failed at that.
Sorry.
Failed at that. But anyway, so in this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Jonas Larson writes in about handling NPC drawbacks. We have Charis asks about player conflict. Dave from Chicago sends a long overdue fuck you. And Leatherneck sends us a player confession and a GM nightmare.
Yay, we
Yay.
love you.
Cool.
Also, sorry, we have an email too if you'd like to send in an email to the show and get our feedback. happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. See, I remember Stu does that. He says it like
Yeah.
4 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
then I
we
already
might
did.
actually read your letter on the air, so if you send it there,
Yes.
don't be horrified.
Yeah.
If
You
we
are
actually read it
giving
on
us
the air.
permission to read it on
Yeah.
the air.
If you don't want us to read it on the air, please write that in the subject line, because we sometimes still do send advice. Actually, usually we just ignore it. But if you want to send us stuff, then, or just tell us how awesome we are, a thank you letter, that's fine too. We'll probably read that on the air
You
too.
send those just to Kimmy.
Just to me. No, it's fine. Nobody thanks me. I work hard, it's fine. So now we have our featured email. So a letter from Jonas Larson. Would anyone like to read this?
Jonas Larson is a regular
Yeah.
contributor.
Yes, he
by
is.
the way.
Yep.
And it's always good to hear from him.
Absolutely.
Or one of our Scandinavians, I think.
Yeah.
I can do it. Do you guys want to do it? Who wants
Do
to do
it.
I
Do
can
the thing.
Do it.
We can tag
Do
team
it,
it.
Jack. Dear Happy Clanks of the Robotic Slave Cast. Okay, is there a website out there where you guys are coming up
random
with all
name
these awesome
generator?
names?
There's a barge off the coast.
Okay, all right. I'm wondering if there's like a random Happy Jacks generator that they've shared
That'd be
amongst
amazing.
themselves because
Someone
that's
should make
really
one.
cool.
They should.
That'd be awesome.
All right,
Yeah.
so Happy Clanks of the Robotic Slave Cast, which is is that an anagram? HCR.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to think about it.
It's another one of those letters again. A listener made angry by Stork.
Oh, what? I've never heard this
Nothing
before.
makes me so pissed of as when Stork says that you can't get killed by a stare in D&D. There are many different types of stares, Stork. Have you ever fought a dire were-stare with levels in Monk? No. I guess so. So, here's my thing. I have this
No,
litmus
I feel
test.
like you should like give him his say.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And then
yes.
do your
Email
rebuttal.
and
Yeah.
rebut.
Yes.
Now, with that out of my system, I can tell you that your podcast actually is a great source of joy to me and a fantastic
Yay.
paragon of inspiration that makes me want to improve my GMing and try out new things. So, I have this litmus test for systems, which is how much damage you would take if you fall downstairs.
Right.
So that's what he's referencing there.
Yeah.
And I've kind of concluded that if you fall downstairs in D&D, you basically don't take any damage.
Well,
And if you fall downstairs in GURPS, you're rolling damage for every stair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's anyway. That's my kind of my litmus test as to how a system works. And I'm hoping it gets adopted by everybody. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense.
I hope everybody does everything exactly like me because it's brilliant.
Because it's an interesting way to just sum
It
up a
is.
system. I'm like, all right, how deadly is this system? See what happens when you fall downstairs.
Right.
Done.
And
Figured
to
it
be
out.
completely fair, in our not our last D&D game, but the D&D game before that, the last Elden Ring game, I fell off a cliff and nothing happened. So yeah.
There you go.
So not completely unwarranted criticism.
I have plenty of friends who are willing to game and never have a problem getting players in real life table, but I've still decided to experiment and give Roll20 a chance after hearing your discussions.
Just don't
on it.
inhale.
I'm about to start an online campaign for those other star-crossed
Yay.
Swedish listeners. You have Andreas Devar, John from Sweden, and Uncommon Man.
Nice.
He plugged them right there.
Awesome.
You can guess what we are playing. Masks of Nahrolotep. Thanks to your warm recommendations for it. And don't worry, I'm of course running it in the system of systems, GURPS.
Yeah!
And this leads to this latest question: how to handle enemies and similar character drawbacks. For those of you who don't speak GURPS, you can get points for taking a disadvantage called enemy, and your GM creates a personal adversary together. The GM rolls dice, and you decide when to include it in the game at random intervals. The rulebook even suggests that enemies are a great way to drag the whole party into an adventure when the occasion arises. For a character in a narrative story, a personal enemy is a huge disadvantage, but for a player, quite the opposite. The enemy is instead a source of one of the most sought-after commodities in the game, and that's time in the spotlight. Want to steal focus from other players? Give the GM several enemies and transcend your main character's status as GM has to weave the plot around your backstory. Enemies don't really add extra danger to the PC because the player characters are almost in constant and consistent danger. No sane GM is going to say, you are in luck, guys. You have a normal, unexpected life this session without drama and bloodshed. If the extra enemy doesn't show up, the enemy isn't going to increase the level because that would likely kill the PCs. GMs always strive after a right amount of danger, enough to be exciting, but not enough to be unfair. So, how to handle enemies and similar drawbacks that a player can give to her character that makes sense and makes the game greater and more fun. Jonas Larson, first citizen of Storktopia.
What?
I'm saying
Yay!
it's an actual
Nice.
place.
You have a land.
Full of a bunch of tall people who don't like to go out much and stand on one leg.
And who
With
are...
fabulous hair.
Yeah.
What's left of it?
You have plenty of hair. You got good hair.
All right.
Stork's hair is
I'm just going
great.
to comb over the stuff from my arms and back. It'll be great. So anyway, how do you handle enemies and similar drawbacks from character gen? Because I get it. Vampire, L5R, GURPS, Savage World, for a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
You can build these into your character gen, and I'm guilty of this. You can steal focus for a game or two or three, or even build character, or even build whole games around a person's, nemesis.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Go ahead.
Good.
You start.
Well, I would say First of all, balancing it is a good comment, but I think you are obliged to spend some amount on that. Because I've seen actually the opposite. Because if you're going to invest character points in a disadvantage so that you get the benefit of that disadvantage, then it should come up in game. So I've seen the opposite where it doesn't necessarily come up, and it really should.
Well, that's bad. That's a bad
yeah.
When you take a disadvantage or a hindrance or whatever fits your game system, you are telling the GM, I want this in the game.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're telling them.
Go ahead and fuck with me.
Yeah.
Here's
how I want you to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can have enemies in anything. In our Masks game, both Gina and Jason, their characters had enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah, through character creation on the...
That were part of character creation. But when I was creating the fronts for the game, I looked at... Dave's character, what he was doing. I was like, well, here he is, the illegitimate child of this superhero. What about the legitimate, child of this superhero who didn't get the legacy powers? And then for your character, I was like, well, what would I pull from your background? And because you're a big thing for your character was the roller derby, so I was like, I totally fabricated Kimmy checked somebody off the rink and put them in the hospital and they came back for revenge. But that's what you do is you weave it together, but you don't make one more important than another.
Right.
No, but
in the grand scheme of things.
That's kind of Sturk's point is how do you make sure, because they're definitely. Even in that game, if you look at that game, it can't always be like, 25% clock, like you're playing timed chess, and it's like...
Right, it's not I'm going to give 12 and a half minutes to this character and 12 and a half minutes to this character. It's an aggregate across multiple sessions.
Right.
Ultimately, it should kind of balance out.
Right. Does it now, I guess kind of like my thought with this question is, okay, if you're spending... Okay, in some systems you spend disadvantage points, you get more points to spend somewhere else.
Right.
How do you make that, instead of making it a laser pointed focus that is a kind of a boon to your character or as a player giving you the spotlight, how do you actually make it a disadvantage? I guess that's my question, because in fact, in some players, especially for very thespian type character or players like us, sometimes it's that's an advantage, getting more story around my character. How do you make it actually something that is worth getting extra points somewhere else then, because it's going to be hard enough?
You give all of the characters a little bit of time to get to know each other and hopefully get to like each other, and then you have Kimmy's evil villain that she created during character creation attack the others, attack her friends, not her.
Right.
Go after her friends.
Yeah. Something else I've seen, and it happened a little bit in the Masks game, not a ton, but you could also make it so that they lose some of their advantages from their backstory. So, if the sludge had ruined Mr. Clean's super cool new mansion, or something like that. I'm not giving you, but just as an example, if that starts taking away other advantages they have, having that villain in their life, maybe they're not able to contact their family anymore because this villain could then track them down or something like that.
Well, one of the characters in our Masks game had to separate herself from her family in part to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And
So.
me.
Actually, it was three of you.
Yeah, there's a couple of us,
Stu did a very good job at doing this in our vampire game.
Yes.
Because my sire and I were not on speaking terms. I took the disadvantage of sire hates me and hunted like a dog.
Yeah.
So Stu combined those two and brought my sire in, and I don't think anybody liked her.
No, nobody liked her. No.
And so, because she showed up
She was
basically
incredibly
to F with
unlikable.
me, and a really unpleasant person.
Yeah.
And the whole game for a couple of sessions revolved around the fact that my sire was a complete and total. I don't know what's the word you want to use, but she effed with everybody, and I think that's the way to pull that off.
I think you
Yeah.
can call her a bitch, especially if she's a gangrel. I
She
feel
was.
that's
She totally
appropriate.
was.
She's-
And I
Yeah.
think that that's the way to pull that off. And Stu did it, I would say, masterfully, because even though it was in my backstory, he brought her in and he made everybody's life difficult with her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I think Kimmy brings up a good point that if you just involve the villain or the enemy from the backstory as plot for
For
you
the
know
one
the
person.
whole and that it becomes the plot for everybody because
Yeah.
you're trying to, that isn't necessarily disadvantageous unless you're like, say the real storyline is you have to go do this other thing, but this person's interrupting that,
And
or
it's still playing to that personal character's disad,
yeah
but it also involves the rest of the party.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
man, she's a
Well,
bitch.
if you
We're going to
think-
help you take her out.
If you think about what Zom did in our Masks game, Zom was ultimately messing with all of you.
Yeah.
yeah
And she didn't do. I mean, she didn't attack you guys
No.
not until the end. And she didn't overtly do anything. She was being very helpful
Yeah.
and supportive
Yeah,
and
cookies.
friendly.
Yeah.
She just
Right.
gave all of you the Wiggins.
Yeah.
I think here's the key. If your player characters show up with a villain, don't have them interacting with your PC off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe to a small extent, but bring them onto the stage and bring them in, and the rest of the PCs get to see or feel how bad this villain really is.
Yeah.
And
Well-
they can either ignore, help, or bypass this person. But that's the thing. Because even though it's a part of the backstory, don't leave them there. Bring them to the forefront.
Yeah.
Put them on stage with the PCs and see what happens.
Yeah, I think another thing you can do, kind of like the flip of the coin for what happened with you, Stork, is your kind of nemesis bad guy was like really unlikable. Make the bad guys or their nemesis from their backstory really likable.
Well,
Like if everybody
It's not
likes
a
this
one.
person except that hero, like that hero knows like, oh no, they're my enemy. Oh, but they're a really good person now. They
Yeah.
sponsor the orphanage.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like them anymore? I mean, yeah, they had a horrible past and they
yeah.
apologized.
If
Like-
you're a good GM, if you can make that work, like, because Carmody's a very charming person, if she'd gotten in earlier and charmed one of you guys, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like now you're playing it on 3 different levels. You've got the players that like your sire that you don't like. There's you and her personal relationship, and then all of the stuff that's unfolding between the other players.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be really masterful. But
Right.
that's a
Yeah.
tricky thing to play. But
Yeah.
again, if you bring that player on stage, if you bring that character on stage, and you look
Yeah.
really well at maybe or devising what it is. Oh, they're a charmer. Oh, they've got charisma. Oh, maybe I can. But that's the keys.
Yeah.
Is drop them there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Play with that. Make that work. Don't treat it as something that just sort of happened in the past. Treat it as something that's
Right.
still current.
No,
and
100 yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. I think I'm just keying in on something I never really thought about is as Kimmy pointed out, that word disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because I have most
Yeah.
often seen an enemy or a villain that's tied to somebody in the past come in the form of plot line.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about played a cyberpunk game in Savage Worlds, actually, kind of a hack of Savage Worlds to make a different kind of a cyberpunk game. But one of the characters had a nemesis, and that person would show up and just cock everything up. Like, so I like that because that really is a disadvantage. Like, you're working a job, you're trying to do a thing,
Yeah.
and our hacker would just get sabotaged once in a while by
a rival hacker.
a rival hacker. Yeah, so that kind of plays more into that disadvantage versus just plot line or a storyline.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it too. Systems it can be a bit tricky. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
playing Champions or something, and you make Doctor Doom your rival, right? Or Dr. Douche. Let's say Dr. Douche.
Dr. Douche.
Because Dr. Douche has become our
Yeah.
Dr. Douche is your personal
Trademark.
rival. And Dr. Douche has effed with you in the past, and you have this vendetta against Dr. Douche. How do you then bring him in and make him relevant to everybody else,
Right.
right? And make him care. I mean, that's or even if your character said, "Yes, I killed Dr. Douche."
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one system, but then, like, in Vampire where nobody dies, you can play it another way. It is tricky as a GM to make it relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how to do that, but
Yeah.
I can say that try to make it relevant. Try to bring it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the chat room's
Yeah, I
talking
think
about.
so, too.
Yeah, the chat room's talking about how you can use it as a a mechanical penalty, or you can also just have it be a fictional trigger that's in the
Yeah.
story.
Yep.
And I think those are both like great options. But I think it's important as a GM if a player spent points,
Yeah.
Yep.
or I'm sorry, got points back,
Yeah.
especially depending on the system, because some systems don't work that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they actually got points back that they were able to spend on skills and stuff, for an enemy or this person, then you find a way, even if it's not mechanical, to make it penalize them in some way or be enough of a disad. Like
I think
even
so,
if it's
too.
just like that, like what we're talking about with their families or something. It's I don't know. To me, if it's a system where you're getting those points back and it's
Exactly.
making them stronger in another way, that only seems fair.
And
I think that's true of any
I
disad.
think so too.
Yeah, absolutely.
GMs should bring up all their disads all the time.
Right.
Well,
That's true.
I don't know that I agree that they should bring them up all the time because
Plot appropriate.
plot at a plot appropriate time.
All right, fair
Yes.
enough. And
Yeah.
this
Because
is a plot.
if you have a minor disad
Yeah.
or a minor hindrance,
Right.
it's not as impactful
Right.
as a major hindrance.
Yeah. Yep.
The whole plot of Vertigo that Hitchcock did
Yeah.
was based on a minor hindrance.
Yeah.
No disagreement.
Yeah.
No
And
disagreement.
major in a certain situation.
Right.
Because
And I am fine with during the course of a game is those things like disappearing. Like if I know
overcome it.
the King's Speech, like great movie. Like a minor hindrance is
Very
stuttering,
good.
but it's
Yeah.
not such a minor hindrance if you're the leader of a country.
Great
Yeah.
example.
So and so slowly over the plot of the story, if the characters overcome whatever it is, or maybe they resolve the plot line
Yeah.
with their nemesis or whatever, then it can be gone.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
technically, you're supposed to buy those disads
Yeah,
off.
right.
Actually.
Yes.
But I'm
Actually,
not-
I was having the
Yeah.
exact same thought. But what I will say is if you narratively work a disadvantage out of the game, let's take the extreme case, you have an enemy and you kill him,
Yeah.
Right.
okay, then, okay, player, you have to erase that hindrance, that's gone, and you have to pick a new one.
Or if you've gained enough experience at that point, just
Or you can spend the
You can buy it
XP to
off.
buy it off.
Yeah.
Or
One
as
two.
a GM, you then have to okay, you killed a person. Like, how does that work in the game? Like, maybe
What is-
some fantasy D&D games, you're in the forest, nobody ever knows. Okay, there's maybe not, but maybe there's someone who happened to be walking through the forest and found the body, and you're this guy's nemesis. Oh, you must have murdered. You're not a hero. Like whatever that
or
then
the-
game
or
penalty
just the
is.
repercussions of murdering
Yeah.
somebody that high profile.
Yeah.
I just a scenario where that would play out really beautifully, in my opinion, is don't make them give up the disad.
Right.
Just leave it.
Leave it
It's like,
there.
and when they're going,
Right.
so what am I supposed to do? This fine.
Leave
Go
it
ahead.
this-
Leave
leave
All
it
right,
there.
all right. So
Yeah.
let's
Just leave
say
it.
Carmody
And then-
O'Leary gets killed. Now Carmody O'Leary's other children are picking up the vendetta.
Right.
But you
Exactly.
still have the disad. It's just a different person.
But in my opinion, what I would do at that point is you have a new big bad guy come
Yeah.
in who's just really a problem,
Yeah.
really pain, making their lives truly miserable, more miserable than their enemy ever did.
Yeah.
And then when they get down to the final end of it, and that's when they find out that it's their son.
Yeah, or something like that.
You kill-
Absolutely.
It's like, hello, my
Oh,
name is
I-
Inigo
Yes.
Montoya.
yeah,
You killed my father.
prepare
I
to
love that
die.
movie so much.
So anyway, I guess
Right?
that's.
I need to watch
hopefully that
that movie
advice
again.
makes sense because I think it does.
Yeah.
Make it relevant to the whole group, not just
Yeah.
your.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
again, that's what
And-
those disads are.
And weaves.
Yes.
Weave, brother, weave.
Yes. Someone in the
Give
chat
me this
room, I
thing.
forget who it was a second ago. I'm sorry, I'm not going to quote you because I can't find you, but you can. Oh, here we go. Sergeant Danush 69. I don't know how to say your name. You're awesome. But if you buy the disad, a GM can use it like heavy spice, enough to flavor, but not enough to overpower.
Very well played.
Well,
very well
well
said.
Beautifully
Thank you.
poetic. We love it.
That's going to go
Very
into
nice.
So much more
Very
class than we
thematic.
have.
I like it.
In 2 podcasts from now, we'll be taking credit for that. So, no. So awesome. All right. Thank you, Jonas Larson,
Yeah.
for writing in again. We're super excited
Yeah.
that you're like trying out the Roll20 thing.
Yeah.
That's super exciting.
I would love to hear about that.
Yes.
And by the way, a couple of weeks ago, maybe months ago, I read how Sweden is taking over the RPG world. Scandinavia has had consistently some of the greatest RPGs that have
Yes.
been coming to
It's
vogue
true.
in the last 10 years or so.
true.
And we have a lot of really devout Scandinavian
It's
listeners.
true.
And a ton of them are from Free League, because I love Free League.
Because they write awesome
Yeah.
stuff.
All right.
Awesome.
But speaking of Roll20,
Yes.
and to segue into our next section,
Do the
Yeah.
thing.
our next segment,
Yes.
Well
I
played.
played a game on Roll20 last
Did
night.
you?
I did.
Is it your first time doing that?
No, I've played
Okay.
on Roll20 a number
Okay.
of times. But last night I got to play a game called Atlas Reckoning with the author. It was run by the author. And had just a great table of players. It was a ton of fun. You play.
Do you call it a table of players?
I do.
What
But
is a collection of? Is it table of players?
Is it a screen of players?
Yeah.
A monitor
I think
of players?
It's a table of players.
Okay.
But Atlas Reckoning is.
I've talked about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe's talked about it. It's kind of Pacific Rim-ish in
Nice.
that you're driving these giant mechs,
So cool. Yeah.
and you're in
Yeah.
pairs, and you have these behemoths who are coming to attack Earth
I
and
know
whatnot.
Pacific Rim. That's entirely Pacific.
Well, except it's the concept is, but you do some world burning at the
Yeah.
beginning where you're like they're the most fantastic. I've talked about this a game we'll play to friends, and they're like, "What system is that?" And I'm like, "No, that was Atlas Reckoning," and just like we made that up for the game.
Yeah.
So like the world burning is really cool that you can do collaboratively at the start, and so it kind of flavors
Yep.
the
It's actually a
game.
great title
And
too. I
it's-
like that. I like the
Yeah.
name, Atlas Burn.
It's got a great mechanic where you use playing cards as your randomizer. It's wonderful
awesome.
mechanic. It's
It's an awesome
ton of
game.
fun.
Where can you find this game?
Nowhere yet.
Nowhere
Nowhere
yet.
yet.
It hasn't,
Okay.
hasn't come out yet.
It's
fancy.
Strauss is going to Kickstarter it, so hopefully soon.
So
Nice.
we'll come
Yeah.
out. We were the first. I think we might have been the first group that got to use the new playbook.
Nice.
So it's a beta test.
Yeah.
basically?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Truly spectacular. game.
Cool.
And we had a con 2 weeks ago.
We did. Oh my god. Yeah, that does, it seems like it was like a
Almost
year
forgot
ago.
about that. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you talked about that. Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say because last week's episode was not the usual post-con,
Right.
So, yeah,
That's true. Yeah, we totally had a con.
Yeah.
I did nothing. I ran the stream video equipment. That's all I did because I just
You
started.
played a game. I know
did.
for a fact
I
you
played a game. I didn't run anything. Is what I meant. Like I didn't. I was a slacker as far as
It was,
GMing.
it was actually really awesome. Kimmy showed up because, like she does, and she's like, "I didn't sign up for anything. I don't know what to do." And she looked around, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, we're full and whatever." But come back, well, and then she found another home.
Yeah.
And you did.
Cool.
Without too much work, you found another place. And that's
was a
the cool
scary
thing about
place.
Gen Con these days is that that people have extras. There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
There's plenty of games being run. So if you think that you can't get into a game, don't. I don't even want
Yeah.
to try. Just wander around,
Yeah.
check, ask.
Yeah, and it was super fun. We had a bunch of people show up, and Lokio showed up.
yes,
Came in from
Chicago.
Yeah, from Chicago.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
I
it's.
hope you had a good time.
He
seemed
seemed to.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's in the chat room right now,
played a
so
bunch of games.
I'm sure he'll tell us if
He
he
had a
hated
room
us.
with, I think, Kadave, so.
Yeah.
Kadave
Yeah.
snores, so it's
That's
okay.
unfortunate.
That's okay. His jolliness makes up for that.
He
I'm
does.
sure.
He
Yeah, he is
100%.
Yeah. So, but it was great, and then we definitely listened to that. Actually, that was a very organized con podcast. Like it was like real discussions were had. I remember the end of it. Like it was
cool.
good. It worked well. So
And Kurt Potts for the win.
Yeah.
He was really funny. He was on.
Yeah.
on that
He was
night.
funny.
on it. Yeah. So yeah, and we did a heavy debrief of Jib's game that he ran, which is really great. And hopefully we're gonna have a one shot of it super soon.
Cool.
And
Oh, yeah?
Strokin Kadave's, Bard and Mission
Mission
Unbardable. There you go.
Mission
I'm like,
Imbartable.
so that hopefully is gonna.
And here's the thing.
Yeah, be a one shot
Here's the
too.
thing. If you've never actually seen the original television show Mission Impossible, go watch it. It doesn't really hold up, but it's a very great concept. It's amazing,
it
and it
does.
went for like 7 seasons.
I think it does, but I grew up with it
Right.
too. So.
Right. It's a
I
little hokey
actually
now.
didn't know it was a TV show until the con.
See, that's my point.
I think I didn't know.
All the millennials, they don't know. When we were kids, we had big phones that you couldn't move, and they rang at the house, and it was terrible. Made your blood pressure go up. People rang your doorbell, and you panicked.
Your remote control for your television was the youngest child. in the
No,
world.
Right.
I think people ring your doorbell now and you panic because it's
Yeah, it's
like,
like,
why are
wait.
people trying to touch me,
I
contact
didn't
me, talk to me?
order anything from
That's-
Amazon. Why
Yeah,
are people here?
exactly.
It's my life.
That's what I think so too. I'm like,
Yeah, millennials don't ring doorbells.
I don't answer
You guys
the
don't
phone.
ring doorbells.
No, they text
you guys,
from the
you guys,
street.
they stand on the porch and text and say, "I'm at your door." It's like, I have a doorbell.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to scare you.
It would be rude to go to someone's house
And
I'm
ring the
telling you.
doorbell?
Yes.
No, that's what it's
I would
for.
text them first and
Oh
see if we
my
could
God.
meet up
I just
somewhere.
parked. I just parked outside.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a
I'm
sign on my
here.
doorbell saying, "Use
Yeah.
this. Don't text
Don't
me. 'cause I
fucking
won't
text
answer."
me.
I'm a
'Cause I'm a
boomer.
curmudgeon.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, Lokio says, "Fuck those guys." Well, we love
Exactly.
meeting you. And yeah, our next con is February con. So if
Well,
you
the next con here in LA.
here in LA, yes,
Because some of us are going to
Big
Big
Bad
Bad
Con.
Big Bad
Con.
Con.
Yep.
I'm not. I was
Yay.
thinking about going, and then I decided to take on the craziest cosplay project ever in time
Oh.
for BlizzCon.
Well, can you
I don't know yet. I want to try a few more things.
Okay.
can you give us a hint?
It's a video game character from Blizzard,
Oh, okay.
and it's crazy. Like I don't know how I'm going to pull it off. I picked like the dumbest thing to do ever.
Does she have hooves?
No.
Okay.
Ooh,
So
that would be
that's
hard.
half.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a lot of glowing involved in the costume.
Ah, all right.
So I'm learning a lot of fun stuff. So very exciting.
Cool.
Who's
Hopefully it
next?
works.
Male god from Char. Otherwise,
Cool,
I'll read another one.
No, we can do it.
All right.
Gina, go.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Mail for the male god from Charas. Greetings, O mighty high lords of douchedom. And ladies. Lords and ladies. Charas writing again, this time with a story of failure and a question about names.
Where did this accent come from?
I don't know. I just was
I'm
feeling
digging
it.
it.
Channeling?
I was
Channeling?
feeling
Yeah.
it. I'll stop now.
Sort of
No,
Eastern
no, it's
European.
good.
Yeah, I don't know. Vaguely.
This is the vague Eastern
Eastern
European
European
seat.
corner. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Just kind of what happens when you
Firstly,
say
a story. This happened years ago while playing Vampire, the Masquerade. Yeah.
Oh my God, I
The
love it.
coterie was deep in the woods trying to locate the cause of a sudden explosion in werewolf population in the vicinity of Chicago. Now I'm going to sound like Sadie from
No, you're doing
You're
great.
doing awesome.
Chicago.
You have to say fanboy penis though.
Oh, I don't know if I can say that. Fun boy penis.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, there you
It's
go.
been a while since.
After a
It was a meme
brief,
for
That
the
was like
longest time.
7 years ago now.
oh my god, but brutal encounter with a pair of wolves, the party managed to kill one and fend the other off. One of our group, Philip, gave
Philippe?
chase. Philip
Sorry.
gave chase using his high celerity.
I totally misread that, by the way.
Celery.
I totally read high celebrity.
So
Oh, I always think people think
celery.
Celery.
Yeah.
He's a baby.
The trouble started when the GM stated that the lycanthrope jumped into a chasm in the ground, describing his jump as a reverse U. Okay. This followed by Philip's player stating he tackles the werewolf using the fact that the manner in which he jumped slowed the enemy down, allowing him to do this. The GM replied that he was not able to do this because his target dropped into the hole. This quickly escalated into an argument about how physics did not allow a big, quick-moving target to suddenly dive into a not that big of a hole without losing enough momentum for his pursuer to catch up. The GM tried to salvage the situation by trying to retcon, but it backfired into another round of argument. This resulted finally into the ending of the game and deciding the events of the evening were null and void. Ooh, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Eh,
Sorry to pause you for a
Yeah.
moment. I forgot from earlier. We have 2 drinks.
Oh,
We have one drink for all the new
drink.
APs,
yes.
Sweet.
and we just got one for Moose and Squirrel.
Moose and squirrel.
So thank you very much,
that's
Master
awesome.
Bitter
And
and Vampire
R.I.P. June
54.
Foray, who passed away about a month ago or so.
Yeah.
Oh my
Was
god, yeah, totally.
The voice of Squirrel.
Yeah.
I mean, lived
And everything
lived
else.
a good long life, but still
Huge,
sad.
Unbelievably long life.
Yeah. Yeah. 92's not
Yeah.
unbelievably long. It's
Well,
good long.
Okay.
Because
I'll
that's
be
my
lucky if I
plans
get
to
there.
work. I'm like, yeah, that's not supposed to be out of reach.
Your liver's already there.
I got daughters lined up. I got 3 kids.
What a null and void. In hindsight, I can tell that this was clearly a result of a GM that preferred rule of cool in his running of the game, and a player that was a rules lawyer and always tried to get things to be his way. That, in all truth, just got to splitting hairs. This is a personal failure for me since it just seemed a simple misunderstanding that just required to take a step back and take a break to allow tempers to cool. Instead, I chose not to get involved being the new guy to the game and RPGs at all. new to RPGs and the game. And after things got well out of hand, it was too late for that. My question, how often do you think
Yes.
do you think simple misunderstandings get blown out of proportion? How do you deal with a sudden clash of players at your table? Should we do that first?
Yeah, let's do that.
I was a young, brash 15-year-old, and testosterone, and we're angry, and every little thing we nitpicked, and people were actually spoiling for fights. And it happened a lot, that people would start nitpicking and go down. And at some point, you take that step back and you're like, this isn't actually about the game. You're just angry at your girlfriend, or you're angry at the world, or you're angry at the fact that you have a shitty job. You're not actually angry at this game. And 90% of the time, if you take a step back, that's really what it's turned into. They're having a bad day. Something went wrong. It's not about the game. They're just taking it out in-game.
Yeah.
The trick is recognizing that someone is having a bad day, and someone being the grown-up in the room and going, wait. Everybody stop.
Yeah.
Everybody stop. That's the trick.
Everybody take a break. Let's go to the bathroom. Let's get some beer. Let's go get some chips. Let's order food.
A fixer. So I will sit there and either in person, Gina the player, or in character, I will work to diffuse if I can.
Yeah.
If you can, but that's the problem. If somebody's dead set on having a fight, they're just gonna listen. I live with 6 females.
Yeah,
they're gonna find that fight.
Wait,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just females?
Yeah. Because that's all I know.
I'm gonna duck now.
Captain
all I know.
Patriot.
Hurt him.
No, I mean,
So you agree with me?
No, I didn't.
You're getting out of the way of the fight.
No, I'm just not gonna stop them.
Yeah. You forget I have the skull of blood.
blood.
It's
not
all I
heavy.
know.
It is heavy.
That's all I know. I can't actually vouch
Yeah,
for boys.
no, because you do have.
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
All the-
Boys,
all the women
when
ever.
this happens, it usually turns into either a wrestling match or a fight out in the yard.
Yeah.
Man.
Fisticuffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think saying yes is because people have bad days sometimes. I think that's a great outlook.
Yeah.
They do bring
I don't-
baggage to the game.
Yes, they do,
Yeah.
100%. But I don't know if that's actually, I mean, I'd love to think that. And I think that's the foundation of when we sometimes have, I mean, we're so lucky with our gamers. We very rarely have that problem. And the fact that we have cameras on us kind of helps diffuse situations like that.
Maybe.
I honestly think
Might
that.
escalate them too.
Maybe, but we're much less likely to resolve it quickly and move on because of that presence of like that third party. But I've gamed with people, not at Happy Jacks, but especially in like video gaming actually is when I really run into it on like MMOs and stuff,
Totally.
where people want to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not about their baggage from having a bad day, where it's like they want this their way, and if it doesn't go their way, they're going to throw a hissy fit, which I think is probably the more common thing.
I think you're probably right.
I agree. I think that's more often the root cause is you have two people who have an idea of how something should play out, and they don't agree, and one of them's going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And somebody has to be willing to give.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be willing to go, you know what? Not going to go my way, and we're going to go on. And I tend to take the view as the GM, because that's usually the seat that I'm sitting in, that I'm going to err in favor of the player as a rule. Not always, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen just because. It might very well be okay, you want to try to tackle the wolf, the lycanthrope, before he can get down the hole he's trying to dive down. Let's put some dice on the table and see what happens. But to be fair, that's after 35 years of playing games, and I didn't always do that.
Right.
No, and there are mistakes can still be made,
Sure.
or maybe not even not even mistakes, but choices you make that might not be favorable to everybody sitting at the table. Because I can think of times where always erring on the side of a player is not necessarily a thing you want to do either.
No,
Because it's like, if I put points into my character and I spent a bunch of stuff doing X, Y, and Z, but somebody else is able to do the same thing as I have done, but I spent points on it, after a while that would annoy me.
And it should.
Yeah.
And it should. And I'm not saying that I'm not
No,
saying that someone
yeah.
should always, that the players always get what they want. If if I have to make a choice between the way I thought something was going to play out and giving a player a shot at something that they wanted, I'm gonna usually give them a shot at what they wanted.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. If you tell me I want to jump across the Grand Canyon, it's like I'm not going to tell you no.
Yeah.
But do you have another character with you? Just
But
in case?
the dice on that are going to be really nasty.
Yeah.
Now,
and
that said, and I've had this conversation with other people. If I tell you, okay, because I'm going to use Savage Rolls, okay, you're at a minus 100 on this roll, okay, and so give me a jump roll, and the fates align, and you put down
the die 92 times,
right, and you put down 104 total. And you're like, wow. What did that look like when you jumped over the Grand Canyon? And the reason for that, and I've had a disagreement with people about this, the reason for that is the dice just told us what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's hard to argue with.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, that's why you have the randomizer, because then you can say, look, I'm not being mean. Nobody's picking on you.
Yeah.
Look, let's move on.
Yeah.
Now, this is only the first part of a two-part question.
Yes.
But I have one other thing. There's a little subtext in here. As other players at the table, and it's apparent that the GM or two other players are having a really in-deep discussion, how would you guys handle that?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, let's just make it between player and GM, and there's 4 other players that are realizing that there's maybe more baggage being brought, or how do you guys react to this?
I intervene. That's what I was going to say. I wasn't trying to pick apart what you were saying. I was going to say there's always going to be the opportunity to step on somebody's toes or misunderstand a situation, or even with the best intentions. Because like Stork said, maybe somebody's having a bad day, or maybe there's just some reason. I don't like uncomfortable situations, so that's just me as a person. So I will probably just let it start to play out by itself, because I'm not going to immediately jump in and interrupt people having a spirited conversation. But I would eventually, if it felt uncomfortable, I would say something.
It's immediately uncomfortable, because that's what suddenly you realize. After like 3 minutes, you're like, these guys are actually shopping. Have any of you guys, other than me, been in a situation like that?
Yeah.
Not at a gaming table.
It's uncomfortable. You don't know what to do. It's like sitting in a room with 2 arguing spouses, and you don't know, because if you don't want to take a side, you don't want to I'm going to choose your wife's side because she's obviously right. I want to choose your husband's side. So you sit there and you look at the other players look at each other. It's a really weird situation. I don't have a solution for it, because I don't know. First of all, I don't know what side to pick, and I don't know how to stop it. It's like 2 dogs fighting. If you're going to grab them, you're going to get bit.
I mean, maybe because I've been a manager for a while, and so I just kind of learn how to step into a situation like that and kind of give both people some credit, and then try to move forward from there. So not, unless somebody is being an absolute 100% dick, and everybody would pretty much...
In RPGs, really?
What?
Well, no, that can happen, but it can also be just like...
There's a lot of recalcitrant people that aren't very good at communicating, Then
it's just like, hey, I hear what you're saying. Kimmy and I have talked about this.
The adult conversation.
Manager speak.
I understand what you're saying.
I understand.
hear what you're saying.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I acknowledge your feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't...
You're probably not going to get rid of your GM. Because they're your GM.
I know.
And not all groups are as lucky as we are to have multiple GMs who kind of can round robin.
I've had players quit.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where if it happens one time, okay, get over it, have a beer, maybe we end the session early today and come back.
Yep.
But you got to have that distance. You got to have. You got to be able to see that happening.
Right, and somebody has to be the grown up and go, wait, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. And that's the hard part.
And it really is.
Because emotions are already up.
Yeah. And that can escalate a situation.
And it can. And you get caught up in the moment, and you don't realize until an hour and a half into the everybody yelling at each other that, wow, I don't know how to solve this.
Yeah.
There's a whole second part to this that we should probably pick up.
And I do think it's easier to intervene when you are close to the people you're playing with than it is when you're playing with strangers.
Yeah, just to kind of like actually have an answer. I think kind of what you were saying is, Stork, about having the other players kind of step up and be kind of the refs or at least the
like everybody out of the pool.
The Jiminy Crickets, some conscious, okay, you guys obviously are. Let's take a breath. Let's go.
Let's table it for tonight.
Yeah.
Let's go out and have
Something.
a bar. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's obviously something else. You
Yeah.
don't even want to say that because
No.
you don't want to call them on it.
And then they're going to go drink and they're going to keep talking about it.
Or whatever.
So they,
but
yeah.
So at least you're not in the room with them.
And people whose emotions are high don't want to hear the voice of reason.
No,
No.
they really don't. They just want to be mad.
Yeah, like when I'm angry,
Yeah.
you need to calm down.
No, don't that now. Now
Oh
you're
my
Not a
God.
good thing
just
to say.
throwing gasoline on the fire.
My God.
Oh man,
I
right?
think that's true with everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
That's
100%.
like
You're
the
being unreasonable,
worst.
Kenny.
Oh my God.
You want to see unreasonable? Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
can bench press 300 pounds. You want to see unreasonable?
Exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's your best bet. And
Yep.
if it becomes a big habit, then you have to start talking about like which one's kind of the poison at the table.
I wish I was that well versed at 15 when we had these arguments.
Oh, for
or
sure.
even recently.
It was so easy to fix it back then, though. You
I
just
know.
punched each other,
Yes.
and then you guys got over it.
It's true.
And
No,
no.
people got ghosted.
Oh, okay.
They did.
They did. They just
Oh.
never came back.
Oh.
Well, if they were jerk holes, then
Yeah.
They were, but
Okay.
Everybody's
We
a
were
jerk
all
hole.
jerk holes. We were 15-year-old boys. We were
Boys
all
are jerk holes between like 14 and 22.
But you were never a 15-year-old boy.
You
either.
know,
right.
they're just. That's why they're in the military, because they're just unreasonable.
that's why they're in the military.
No, seriously.
Good place
It's
for
it's
a bunch
perfect-
of.
yes.
Yeah.
I was a 15-year-old boy. I should have been in the military because I was really unreasonable. It's great. It would have been a great place.
right.
ROTC.
Yep.
The second part deals with names. How much weight do you assign into names you assign to characters, PCs and NPCs alike? This is brought about by the name of the new prince of the glittering night in the moat of Sin.
Ooh.
Miroslav.
Spoilers.
Miroslav. His name meaning is peacemaker or removed for peace. Mir is peace, Slav is fame. Ooh, we're maybe learning a thing.
Did you know that? You knew that.
No, I
Did
had
you
no
write
idea.
this?
No.
In brief,
I actually didn't know that. That's really amazing. And now
no,
I'm
I
like,
didn't know that either. Because it's it's a name.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you keep the piece a lot different ways.
Makes you wonder if
Yeah.
Stu knew
Yeah.
that.
Or but maybe you
Yeah.
just Googled it and thought it was a
Maybe
cool
he
name and has
liked
no
the
idea what it
name
means.
Miroslav.
Or removed for peace.
Mm-hmm.
In brief, what all this hassle is about. Do you look for some meaning for the names you assign, want them to just be cool sounding, or more or less assign them at random or based on fancy? I love the on fancy.
Yeah.
I hope this will spark an interesting discussion. Take a drink and game on.
I have recently
Wait,
really.
P.S.
P.S. An
Oh.
obligatory P.S.
Is
is obligatory.
I have recently embraced the Dickensian, not even recently, maybe in the last 5 years, of the Dickensian naming, which and J.K. Rowling as well,
Oh.
which is the name of the character kind of sums up what they are.
Yeah.
And Dickens did it well. I could rattle off a few. Professor Gradgrind. Right, so you know that he is a harsh teacher by the name Gradgrind.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Right, Scrooge. Just even though it's a made-up name, it just has that Scrooge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dickens was a master of it, and J.K. Rowling does it as well. She
Yeah.
telegraphs what this person's like, and sometimes it's misinformation. You know, when you have Sirius Black, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Well, he is a black dog, which is the genuine, actual definition of Sirius Black is black dog. But is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I really embrace that these, especially for one shots, when people don't have a lot of time to sit around and get to know people.
Yeah.
So I've been naming all my characters things like Gradgrind,
I do that a lot.
Honest Heart.
I do that a lot, but I use different languages. Like the example here, where I had a druid named Petal de la Forêt, so it was like Petal of the Forest, or
Yeah. Right. Okay.
yeah, just stuff like that, where you kind of mess around with language, or like I had a bard with a because I think she was a moon elf, but I used the elven word for moon as part of her name. So stuff
what
like
I
that.
do.
I think it's really cool as a player character. That's really cool. As a GM, you are telegraphing, you are giving some stuff
Yeah.
away. and if it's a one shot, if it's a con game, that's kind of cool because there's less background that they now have to. Well, I don't know. We're gonna spend 3 weeks surveilling him. It's like surveil. Oh God. So
I like symbolism in names.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I like symbolism, but at the same time, sometimes I just like a name that just evokes the nature of the character in a single word.
Yeah.
Screw.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the way I
letters.
envision the character, because I'm
Yeah.
a visual person. I tend to. The first thing I usually get about a character is an image of what they look like. And when I'm naming a character that I'm playing in a game, I like. I kind of do a lot of what Gina does. Is I like to get like a symbol, and then I'll like wiggle that into another language. And like my character last night was kind of a narrow-featured, angular, of Germanic descent kind of guy, and his call sign was Falke, which is German for falcon.
Yep.
Nice.
Even with the vampire game, I named Albert. First of all, I stole the last name from.
That's a great last name.
Drawlight.
Yeah.
I stole him. I stole that name actually from. I'm trying to remember now. It's Dr. Morell or Dr. Norrell and is it Mr. Strange or Dr. Norrell or
Oh,
Yeah.
Strange and
yeah.
Norrell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Drawlight is one of the characters in there. And I thought it was such a wonderful
yeah.
way
It is.
to draw
Yeah.
light.
Yeah.
You draw light away. You draw.
Yeah,
You
I dig
take
it.
light. Your darkness. Your shadow. It's such a neat
Absolutely.
little like draw light, and it's so Dickensian.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And it telegraphs. So you have an average first name, Albert.
Yeah.
Draw light.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so cool, and I really have recently embraced that, and it's a double-edged sword because you're telegraphing what your guys like.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, but I also, you were going to say something.
No, go ahead.
Oh, just I am also the person that will sit there and I will Google like my character is a something, and I'll put in, female news reporter, and then like names come up, and I go, oh, I like this and this.
Yeah.
Or I write down names when I see them, like weird names of businesses, or like I have this name I haven't used forever that's Buttonwillow McKittrick, which everybody in California who's
Yeah.
driven on the Grapevine will know where I got that.
Yes.
Sure.
Because sometimes I'm just like, oh man, I need to play a character named Buttonwillow McKittrick.
And that actually reminds me that there is a weather forecaster here in L.A. named Dallas Raines.
Yes.
You knew exactly what I was talking about. And it's so Dickensian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course he became a weather forecaster.
Yeah.
Dallas
He was-
Raines.
It was that, or like I don't know, like a meteorologist. Like he had like two
Well,
career paths.
he is a meteorologist.
Oh,
but
okay.
still, the point being, that's where he went with
Yeah.
the last name of Raines in
Yeah.
Dallas.
I think that's
I don't
not a
actually
real
watch
name.
Weathermen, so I didn't actually know they had degrees
I think
in
he
that
had to
anymore.
make that name.
I thought they
That's
just
a
stood in front
Well,
of
they
the thing
claim
and were
they do.
pretty.
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
gonna- they probably mail in for it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
Not everybody has a master's degree in this room. Only you, Kimmy.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
only that.
Again, the center
That's
of the
okay.
Both
table.
of you? You too?
Mine's
You
not
too,
anything.
Gina?
Mine's not in teaching,
Oh,
but
2 masters.
All right.
yeah.
I'm going to need more beer. to keep up.
You're the robotic slave end
Yeah.
of the table, whatever that
I love like kind of telegraphing my character stuff, but in other languages.
was. Yes.
So like I'll use like Orcish or Elvish is what I usually use, but people have started figuring that out. So a lot
Yep.
of times for more like mundane characters, for like Adrienne and things like that, it's more just kind of like how the name feels when I say
Yep.
it. Does it feel
what does
fancy
it
to say that? Then
evoke?
she's
Yep.
a kind of a fancy character,
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. So
When doing a fantasy character that's not human, I like to pull words from their language.
yeah,
Oh,
that
totally.
mean things, and then I'll translate it.
yeah,
So, like, I used to play a dwarf whose name was Brenthalic, which but everybody knew him as Stonehue because that's what it means.
yeah. That makes sense.
You said phallic.
Not phallic, phallic.
Phallic.
Oh, right. You
It's
said
like
phallic.
it's a leaf that phallic. Phallic.
Yeah.
Google Translator gets a workout too when I'm making my characters and
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
background bio stuff
You
because I'm
give all
like
new meaning
yeah.
to Stonehenge.
And I'm a big fan of Spanish, French, and Latin.
All right.
I missed something there, but I don't
Next.
think I even want to know what it
You
was.
don't. Okay.
Long overdue. You wanna do it?
A long overdue fuck you from Dave in
Ooh.
Chicago. Look, I love you guys and gals, but fuck you already. I've been listening for years now, and every time Warhammer is even half mentioned, I get to hear myself lumped in with whatever swamp stink covered, suspender wearing, mouth breathing fat blobs you've apparently seen at your local cons.
Well, I gotta say that is a great turn of phrase. Thank you. Thank you
Well
for that.
done.
Is this like 40K Warhammer or?
Or did you just
I believe so.
glasses?
Huh?
Is this 40? Is this 40K?
No, I'm wondering because like I
Yeah.
kind of wraps like I was pretty happy with my Warhammer Fantasy RP game.
I think
Like,
I
I loved
they're,
it.
I think
I think
they're
they're 40K.
Yeah.
If we read
This is the
on,
point
read
I
on.
played
it
again.
will clarify.
Yeah.
Fat blobs you've apparently seen at your local cons that you've misconstrued as an accurate representation of the average wargamer. Just keep in mind that all I'll take to put your fat bearded selves into that same group is a handful of dice, a giant table, and a bunch of poorly painted miniatures. Oh, wait, that's the shit you're using to play RPGs with already, isn't it? Isn't it? But I'm playing a character and theater of the... Oh, stuff it. You're just one wrong rulebook away from being one of us, you douchebags.
That's right. One wrong rule book. That's all it takes.
Absolutely.
We played 4E. We were that close.
All joking aside, I'm really ready to welcome Stu to the wonderfully grimdark universe of
Right?
Warhammer 40K. Even if you don't end up enjoying the tabletop game, the 40K universe is so incredibly rich and deep and filled with more crazy, insane nastiness than you can possibly shake a Daemon-infused chain axe at. I'm still surprised you haven't dipped your toes into any of the 40K RPGs, although I can imagine they'd be daunting to outsiders due to their sheer depth and breadth of the lore involved.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. As there's plenty that someone like me who's been stuck in that world since the early 90s would take for granted. If you're planning on plunging yourself any deeper into the 41st millennium, may I suggest checking out the Independent Characters podcast. Okay. It's definitely the best 40K podcast out there, and they just recently did an episode 156 on bringing new gamers into the hobby.
Nice.
Always have fun, paint those models, and report any heretical thoughts to your local commissar for execution or correction. Dave from the rusted wastes of South Chicago, or Grenial Vex in all places that matter.
Excellent. Thank you for that email.
Yes.
That's cool. Yes, sadly, we have misaligned and misappropriated, misconstrued, and mostly been misogynistic towards you guys.
Misogynistic towards...
Am I using that right?
No.
I don't think so.
Not
I don't
even.
think that word means what you think it
It
means.
doesn't, no.
But it was still funny.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
It was
I'm
good.
sure there's some women
Yeah.
who play 40K, and
Yeah.
to them you're being misogynist.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
But
Not
now
for
our
all.
fearless leader has
Yeah.
definitely...
Has embraced the 40K.
Yes.
I'm terrified because it's going to make him good at tactics, and now we're fucked.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't like the tactics.
I didn't think about
usually.
that.
Yeah, he's going to be like placement. It's going to be like Risk now. He's going to have like there's going to be phalanxes and like feints, and we're screwed.
We're gonna die.
Yeah.
A lot.
Because we've
That's
relied on
awesome.
the fact that Stu is terrible at tactics
Yeah.
and strategy, and now he's playing 40K, and all of that,
Although
that
he's
disadvantage
planning
is
on
going away.
playing
Sort
with his son.
Yeah, this sort of requires you to
So-
play against somebody other than Zach.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he will at some point.
At some point.
Although
Yeah.
by the time Zach is 15,
Zach's gonna beat him. I mean, yeah.
Zach's going to beat him like a rented mule.
Already
Yeah.
does.
My godson is incredibly talented at tactics, so I don't know where he didn't get that from Stu. But yeah, no, and actually, like,
His mom's devilish clever.
yes, she is. She's totally. And
French, you know.
Yes, you know. But yeah, and Zachary's actually really enjoying it too. So he was
Oh,
really excited when we
cool.
went to the con.
Yeah.
Like seeing like the big models and all that stuff. And Stu's like, "Oh no, we're not getting that until you're actually old enough to really be into the hobby."
And then Dad can afford to buy that.
Those
Because it's
giant
going to be
things.
outdated
Like-
in a year.
Yeah.
Like, Zach, do you want that or do you want to go to college?
Don't ask him that right now. Don't ask him that right now.
there is a hefty financial
Yeah.
buy-in.
It
to play.
is not a trivial undertaking
Not
to
like
either
on the
purchase or
pocketbook.
paint
Or store.
or store.
No.
I love miniatures. I love painting miniatures. For me, it's more of an art thing than a
Yeah.
a miniatures wargaming thing. But I have played. I haven't played 40K. Although I have played a tiny little bit of Rogue Trader, which is one of the 40K games. And Warhammer has I totally agree. Warhammer is a amazingly rich, deep lore behind it. I don't know that I agree that it's necessarily more rich or more deep than other lores that can be found. But it is.
Stuck.
Kimmy would like a drink.
You're gonna have to mute me as I get up.
Mute.
Mute.
Hopefully I picked it right.
But
Go.
yeah, and I think it's probably fair that we have characterized wargamers in a not necessarily flattering light much of the time. But to be fair, we often don't characterize ourselves in a flattering light.
No, we're not.
That's true. And it's all just probably to be funny.
Yeah,
at
no,
some
it's
point.
totally lighthearted. And
Yeah.
except for those darn LARPers, man.
Like the guys that were on last
Yeah.
week.
And the MMO players. Oh, wait, that's me.
Yeah, exactly. See, I was
Not that
going
you
to
could
say
be accused
though.
of LARPing there, Wonder Woman.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's not called
Cosplay
LARPing.
is totally different,
It's not
okay?
LARPing. Is it LARPing if you occasionally get up from the table and gesture emphatically when you're in character?
Or wear costumes to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Is that like
No, but it totally made my day at the con
Yeah.
on Friday afternoon when I was playing a game, and the GM was describing the fact that one of the characters is sitting in a bar and he's doing something, and somebody at another table is eavesdropping on him, and he jumps up, runs over to the next table, sits down, and he's like, and he's like, it made my day.
That's awesome.
funny? I played Warhammer again at this last con because once was definitely not enough, and then I bought my own book. But we could absolutely run. I know somebody that could run a decent Warhammer
Cool.
RPG.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of crazy, amazing, and I guess I get that, there's a ton of lore and splat and fluff with D and how many years of D&D?
Yeah.
40.
8
something.
million.
500?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
About
at least
500
500.
years,
Yeah, just maybe a smidge under.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some that's really interesting sort of, I don't know, I guess it's
Did I drink all your beer
kind of
yet?
17th century
Yeah.
kind of.
Gina's got the last two, but they're hers.
Yeah. No, I'm only drinking one. I drank one already.
You're
This
not
one's
drinking
empty.
another one?
No,
there's
I
another
already
beer for you.
put-
Stork.
I put
Stork,
my
Stork,
plate-
beer.
Her mouth has been on that.
I did.
That's the actual one she's drinking. This
Yeah.
one's empty already.
Yeah, this one was empty. I just started that one.
Don't
I
take
just
the
wanna
woman's
get in.
beer.
I don't want
You do have to go get a beer, so
You have to bring my mic back up. Kidding.
I know. I was waiting until you were done, talking about the thing.
But
Okay.
about the beers. Here's an interesting thought that first of all, guys, right, and maybe women too. Stuff always occurs to you when you're peeing. I don't know if it's the endorphin rush or whatever, but I'm in there and I'm like, aha! And so I'm sitting here thinking about the whole
Do
miniatures
men
thing.
get endorphin rushes when they pee?
Absolutely.
Stork does.
I never have, but
That
Stork
seems so
apparently does.
unfair.
Have you ever heard of pea shivers?
Yes, not from dudes.
No, I'm gonna
yes.
Google that later.
Jim, do you know what a pea shiver is?
No, I've heard of pea shivers.
No, actually, I can't say that.
Really?
I
Are you
Never
kidding
known?
me?
It's guys' little reward. Every time we're like, anyway.
I didn't know it was a
Oh,
reward.
it's a whole thing. I'll tell you all about it later.
I just
but-
knew they
I love
existed.
that
Here's-
somebody just followed us and that was their introduction
That was
to
the
Happy
introduction,
Jacks.
was pea
Pea
shivers.
shivers.
I'm so sorry,
Sorry
for,
about
for
that.
some of my compatriots.
I'm not. That's why I love them.
Anyway, you actually had a point. Go.
I did have
Yeah.
a point. I had a couple little points, which was
Don't
you
talk
can't
about
say that
yourself
there
that
hasn't
way.
been a division between the miniatures people and the role playing people because
Mm-hmm.
when you go to the cons, they're like almost in separate wings of the cons,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I can't tell you that I've never played a miniatures game because I've played 4E and I've played some of the games with the chits and stuff, and you're midway and you're trying to take stuff over and things, and I get it, I understand it, and then occasionally. And in fact, the way I run a lot of role-playing games, especially D&D, is I have a lot of miniatures, I have maps, and there is strategy involved. You can always tell a miniature player in your game when they go, they start to light up. Oh, combat's happening. All right. So, what's the terrain like? All right. How fatigued are the troops? What's the weather like? And all of a sudden, you know
Yeah.
that, and they're role-playing, but they've also done mini stuff because
Interesting.
they are utilizing the environment and everything around them. It's something that role players don't do. We just tend to hand wave that stuff. Well, all right, I hit him or whatever. But a minis guy gets involved in everything that's around them. They're like, all right, are we on hills? Are we on the downside of the hill? Are we on the upside of the hill? Is it night? Is it day? Is the sun in their eyes? Is it raining? Is it not raining? Is it muddy? Because all that stuff plays into their tactics and what they're going to do. And I guilty of doing that. Even though I deride mini players, and yet I really want minis on my map because I need to I need a map. I want to know terrain. I want to know like a sense of scale. I want to kind of know, and I most of the games I've played dice have never gone my way, so I need a wall to hide behind. I need a hillock to hide behind. I need a cow to sacrifice. Whatever. But it needs to be on. It's like, give me a map, man.
We're in a dungeon. Is there a cow?
I came
How big is the cow?
Yeah,
What color is the cow?
did not come
Can I tip
close
the
to
cow over?
40K, but I came very close to miniature gaming with Malifaux. Because, man, that looked cool.
Yeah.
I think that there is a crossover and a place for minis, and,
Yeah.
and we deride against purely minis, and I think 40K has done a really good job of balancing the two because they have a rich lore. They have a rich, and here's the thing though, they're gonna update it. You're gonna have to buy all new minis. You watch.
Well, lots of things have very rich lore. Like from a tabletop, miniatures wargaming thing. My game was BattleTech.
Yeah, similar things.
And
Similar
they
situation.
have a spectacularly rich lore.
Yes, they do.
Um,
and
I
even
don't fear
with
the
each
boot, folks. Boot. See, I did it.
even with each mech,
Minnesota did.
Yeah.
each mech has a different lore involved, and each mech
Oh, yeah.
is like their followers and
And
I always love
you have
Jaguars.
to, get into whether you're clan
Yeah.
or inner
Oh, yeah.
inner sphere or
Oh,
I mean there are
Very cliquish.
books and books and books and books written about it, novels from it.
It's very
and whatnot.
clicky. It's very clicky.
It is, but there's not as great a divide between miniatures wargaming and tabletop role playing gaming.
No, there really isn't.
But it's not funny if we're like,
But
if we're nice about everything.
I know.
it's like, guys, look at it this way: if we don't pick on you, it means we don't love you.
It's kind of true.
It's actually super true in my life.
Yeah, it's kind of true with how this.
So you don't pick on people you love?
No, that's how I show affection.
Yeah.
Is I mock people.
What do you do to people you hate?
Mock
Get
them.
really quiet.
I ignore them.
Right,
Yeah,
just-
I do too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
But I get it. I totally get it.
I get it,
It's
Stork.
kind of a different. I'm terrible at tactics and strategy, and the argument, of course, is we'll play more mini games, right? And you're probably right. But I don't know. Settlers of Catan, I fail at. Risk, never ever won. I'm just not. It's just not my bent, and I think I've learned through being beaten down enough that that's not my forte. I think I'd rather talk my way out of a fight than have to set up a bunch of troops and work on strategy. And maybe that's the divide right there. Is a lot of role players, and I'm not going to say you guys are, but I'm going to allude to the fact that maybe a lot of us role players are terrible at working out the maths and all of that stuff for an actual tactical game. If I'm wrong, go play 40K and prove me wrong.
Math major.
Yeah.
Math and English, though.
Yes.
so.
Well, it's more than just maths,
Yeah.
Master's
No, it
tactics.
is. But
Master's
yeah.
degrees.
right? I'm gonna go take a ditch. They need ditches to shit in.
No, you're an actual artist, so
I
I'll
know,
make
right?
a really good-looking ditch.
We definitely deserve a smack on the nose with a newspaper once in a while, though.
Me?
No, we do.
We
Yes,
do.
we get sassy.
We
And
do.
we
Yeah,
think, you know, so
And it's fair call.
not in a bad way.
It is.
Just to be silly.
Yeah.
It's a fair call.
Yeah.
Undermining GM Cupcake from Leatherneck, and it's
Ooh,
my
nice.
turn to read.
Cool.
Did I get the long one?
Yep.
Ah,
You're the only sober one of the group.
yeah, that's true. Hello, happy podcasters. I am registered on your forum as Leatherneck and actually replied to a post there. Maybe 2 by now. It's very exciting. He's like, I registered 5 years ago and I just replied to my first thing. No, it's okay. I don't post. Actually, a lot lately. I have been posting a lot lately.
You
but-
have.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's business to take care of.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yes, stuff
Bin-
and things.
business.
I'm usually
And
just a big
if you want to hear
lurker.
what Kimmy's been posting or read it,
Yeah.
go to the forums.
happyjacks.org/forum.
Stuff's happening.
I'm really not sure how to preface this, so I'm just going to say it. As a player, I undermined a campaign. It was my reaction to the GM's favoritism of the other players.
I get that, though. I get that.
Oh, yeah. There probably isn't much I can say in my defense. The era was 1978 and 79.
Oh my god, do I know this person?
Maybe.
This is when I was gaming.
So this is what happened to
Maybe-
my game.
Yeah.
They were litter mates.
Stark, you're still gaming.
Well, there was a big chunk
Oh.
when you were born. There was a big chunk when I wasn't gaming. Anyway,
You stopped gaming because Kimmy was
What
born?
Sure, that
hate,
sounds much better than the reason I wasn't gaming, actually.
Don't give me things to
It's so much more
He's like,
interesting.
somewhere there's a child, a chosen one,
The chosen one.
that will organize all the
There's a
games.
golden child.
She's the last die bender.
She is the war RPGer.
She will be anal retentive for
Yes.
all of us. It will be amazing. All right. Dungeon bashing was RPGs with the most DM. Oh wait. Dungeon bashing was RPG with most DMs I knew was either kill as many PCs as possible kind or the Monty Hall type or both.
And by the way, we've had this discussion. I have to point that. I'm sorry. Monty Hall is spelled with Hall, not Haul.
Oh
yeah.
It's been a bone of contention.
Okay.
I love the Haul
I had
because
no idea.
all right.
It's evocative.
It is, and it's a pun. You know,
You know.
it's
It
clever.
is?
It's not a palindrome, but a pun.
It's
Carry
hilarious to everyone who can't see this email.
Hall, like Michael Anthony Hall,
Yeah.
not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Carry on.
All right. There was one GM focusing on story as much as combat. This story is not about him. Two of my friends and myself were invited by a gamer friend, with little quotations, to be players in his new campaign using FGUs, chivalry, and sorcery for the Arthurian fantasy setting.
I love chivalry sorcery, by the way.
Me too.
The GM had the nickname Cupcake in the gaming community. We gathered in his basement/family room. Sorry.
Okay. Where's this going?
He's in the Northwest.
At
They have
least-
basements.
Oh, okay.
At
that
least he
actually
didn't
are
say
Family room.
basement/clown gimp room.
Yes,
right.
this is true.
Right. A lot of places in the world, they usually north of here, actually have functional basements. They're not just like a place to dump your furnace.
Storage.
And,
Oh,
right.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Like a good player and former Boy Scout, I arrived prepared to create a new PC with my CNS rulebook, dice, paper, pencils, and trusty TI-55 calculator programmed for some of the secondary characteristic calculations.
Which is,
I
you had to-
smell
yeah.
foreshadowing.
Yes. CNS character creation starts with roles for social standing as well as traits.
Right, because you're making knights, landed gentry,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you had to roll, and if you screwed up, well, then you were a squire.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't
Yeah,
know
God.
about later editions of CNS, but first edition had a lot of charts and math for character creation. However, the GM had characters ready-made and customized for each of us.
Oh.
I had a reputation of bad dice rolls. Sork,
Well,
you
Did you write this?
no, maybe.
it's like
Maybe.
handwritten. He mailed it, so it's just getting here from 1978. It's just arriving. Stork typed it up.
That's the funniest thing. You're
brilliant.
I'm busted. You're right.
I'm sometimes funny. All right. I had a bad reputation of bad dice rolls and was not looking forward to playing another surf woodsman. So,
Rangers, come on, it is. It's me.
Rangers is really you.
It's sounding more and more like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So playing a GM created PC seemed like a good thing.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm owning this. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Come
totally
on. You
fine.
know what? He's give me a good character. I don't have to roll this up anymore.
I smelled something that didn't smell good when the GM's nickname was Cupcake, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
So-
warning
Could be a
sign.
problem.
Warning
Yeah.
sign. Yeah, never go into somebody's basement when they're calling themselves
Yeah.
Cupcake.
Yeah.
Or go if that's really what you want, but be
This is
aware.
true.
All right.
Just know what you're getting into.
Yes. Cupcake made character.
Basements in the Northwest are like furnished. There's carpeting.
I
There's
know.
not. It's not like
That was
Racks,
my
unless that's what you're
upbringing.
into.
Yeah. No.
Rug burn.
Anyway.
Supposed to be a
right.
TV down there.
Cupcake made characters were handed out. My friend, Mr. Natural Charisma, got a knight in full plate armor, including a heavy warhorse.
What?
This was in line with the type of characters he was playing and still plays. My second friend, Master of Complex Rules, was given a necromancer, and who was also an Oriental martial artist practitioner using homebrewed rules.
Yeah, because they weren't
Oh.
actually in that
Yeah.
game, but that's
Damn.
cool.
Okay, no warning signs there.
No.
For travel, he had a black riding horse to go with his black robe and his black mace. Friend 2 was happy, and he almost always played a mage, and it's still his go-to character type.
Right.
I, legend of bad rolls, was handed a dwarven weapons artificer. I like unique and thought this would be fun. Well, not getting a knight at least I wasn't the only serf in a band of nobles. Been there, done that, suffered the beatings. To make travel easy on the dwarves' feet, I got a donkey and a cart, because dwarves don't ride horses. Fair.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I wish I could say that things went well. I quickly learned that I was outclassed in combat by everyone, including the necromancer.
Oh, man.
I added to add to the lack of fun. Not only was I the worst fighter of the 3 PCs, there wasn't a plot for a dwarf in the human realm.
Right, because in CNS, because basically it really is Arthurian legends. All the lesser races were not treated well.
Nothing.
In fact, most of them were hunted down and
Oh.
yeah.
Oh. The knight played through the story with him becoming the Black Knight, but one that fights for justice and good. Totally makes sense. The necromancer had a story that gave him an intact castle in a swamp with a lost battlefield nearby as ready source for his most preserved dead bodies. What about the dwarven weapons artificer?
Right?
My story was to create enchanted armor and weapons for the other players. I asked for something interesting other than tagging along on the others' adventures. Nothing developed, and all my attempts to start something for the dwarf were shut down by the GM because we were in the human realm, and no one would interact with non-humans.
He's basically the guy with the coconuts. In the...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Patsy.
Yeah. An NPC would have had more adventures than my PC did.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a surf woodsman wouldn't have been so bad after all.
Rangers rock.
Oh, man. So, to the rule books I went. And a weapons artificer gains experience points when they create magic items. I, my TI-55 calculator, and Master of Compact Rules calculated the best way to maximize creating +1 swords and shields, and I gained levels. As the levels increased, +1 items were faster to make. When the Black Knight of Kindness went to tournaments that the dwarves weren't welcome at, I created +1 swords. When the England's only Oriental style combat necromancer was studying and raising the dead, I was creating +1 swords. Eventually, I reached high levels by crafting magic items and had far too many +1 enchanted items, and the armory was too well stocked.
Oh my god.
This is when I unleashed the bastard player, trademark, and sought revenge for the slights I felt I had suffered.
I think you have suffered. I don't
This is
think
going
you
to be
felt
awesome.
Oh man, I accompanied the goodly Black Knight and the Taekwondo necromancer to King Arthur's tournament. 3 large wagons of magic swords and shields were hauled forth as I set up shop.
Man.
As an exhibit of a 17-year-old's passive aggression to show my displeasure, I unleashed my evil plot to destroy the magic economy of the game world. I sold hundreds of +1 swords and +1 shields at
that's
just
awesome.
above cost.
You know what though? As a 17-year-old, I was not that smart.
Brilliant.
It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm stealing this.
Oh man, even the poorest of knights and common men-at-arms were equipped with magic. I made sure to explain that that with so many magic items in the hands of lower knights and common soldiers, the higher nobles with their +2 swords were not so special anymore. We ended the night with me gloating to myself for a plan well executed. A few nights later, we got together for the next session, and I found out I found out what impacted my evil machinations. The GM gave me another character to play and retired my dwarf from the campaign. Did I have Sulk? Probably did. But I was told my complaints were heard and this PC was good in a fight. He was right. CNS trolls are good in fights.
No.
However, I wondered why a troll PC for a fantasy Arthurian human-centric campaign.
Right, but here's the thing. And trolls are only touched on. They're basically hunted by knights,
Right.
as trophies. It's like you're walking around like a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like part 2 of Nightmare, the sequel.
Walking around with a target on you.
Yeah. So, okay, part 2. I asked the GM, why not a knight in shiny armor? The GM explained, you have a reputation of this character. You have a reputation of his characters dying in combat, and a troll has regeneration, so it will be hard for him to die with your die rolls. Ignoring the pun, I replied with almost a whine, I'd really like to play a knight for once. The GM deflected my profound argument with, trust me, you'll have more fun now that you can't die in combat. Cupcake was really dedicated to that pun. Apparently, the non-plot, non-combat dwarf and the impossible kill troll were to protect me from the trauma of having my PC die in combat. Maybe after all those years, I should write the GM and thank him for his concern for my mental health. Because obviously, after
this makes a much better
pages of
story.
email,
I
I'm
know.
totally
It's like-
fine.
Right, he's working this out.
As for my
Do you want me to pick it up, or you?
I'm
are you
okay.
tired?
I'm all right. I'm
All
okay.
right.
I've been talking
Shake
all
it
day.
off.
It's
Shake it
fine. All right. As for my nefarious plan to ruin the game world's economy, the GM ignored it as if it hadn't happened. Lame. But hey, turn that frown upside down into a mischievous grin. I now had an honest-to-God combat monster. So combat I did. I used meta-knowledge of the dwarves' hidden magic stash. The troll equipped himself with the very best dwarven enchanted +4 halberd. And, of course, the non-human problem I had with the dwarf was worse for the troll. Eventually, his magic weapon was stolen, sold, and lost forever. I recall there being lots of sulking. If my legend in local gaming groups is that I could kill any of my PCs without trying, I decided to see what happens when I try. I learned
Wow.
what I learned was that GM intervention can keep a PC alive no matter what he tries.
I have totally tried that.
Yeah. That was until we faced the Balrog living under the Necromancer's castle. To save the other PCs, the innocent, not yet sacrificed human woman, I charged the troll into the arms of the Balrog. No longer armed with magic weaponry, I went in teeth and claws versus flaming sword and flaming whip, and flaming claws, and flaming wings. Oh, and then there's the fire breath. The other players got that there would be sacrifices anyway, while I slowed down the Balrog and finally killed the troll. Ta-da! My reputation was intact. I was asked to come back for the next session for a new PC. The day arrived and I drove over there singing to the Queen song, "We Will Rock You." We will be a knight. Yes. The GM started by telling the other two that they had to abandon the castle in the swamp to the Balrog, leaving errant Black Knight and Kung Fu Mage wandering in need of a home for the knight's intelligent warhorse and the Necro's surviving squad of zombies. As any luck would have it, my new GM created PC just happened to know of another castle. So I was then handed a 13-year-old unacknowledged bastard noble thief. What? Still not a knight in shining armor for a game about knights in shining armor. Why break with tradition? On the bright side, not a serf. On the downside, not a knight. Grudgingly, I was willing to give it a try until I saw the character twist. Next to gender, it said female. No. I tried to explain as best I could that as a 17-year-old guy, I wasn't comfortable playing a 13-year-old girl. As we walked it through, I expressed how I wasn't comfortable playing a female character and really wanted to play a goddamn knight. Finally, I settled down and agreed to give this female, unacknowledged bastard noble thief a shot. Or maybe the shot I was thinking about was a crossbow bolt to Cupcake's face.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
No, I was just, wow.
Two more
It's
pages.
still going on.
Yeah, and we continue. Our first adventure with the new thief...
I'm riveted, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I'm putting down my handbag.
Our first adventure with the new thief PC was to find a home for the two vagabonds. My PC led them to an abandoned metal castle that was mostly underground. Plot twist, it wasn't so abandoned. It was defended by animated empty suits of armor and unmanned magic sunray blasting wands. Dodging the high-intensity sunray beams, we made our way to the metal castle to explore the fight, the current occupants of the animated armor. With the last hints, I finally figured out the meta plot. We were playing in post-apocalyptic England, where the magic replaced technology. King Arthur was Arthur of legend returned, without his knights of the Round Table. The metal castle was an intercontinental missile complex guarded by robots and laser turrets. Good thing the Black Knight had the best possible magic armor to help with those darn lasers, and the Necromancer had all the zombies armed with +1 swords and shields to swarm the robots. Now, it may seem that I'm just complaining and full of sour grapes, and I probably am. But even here, I found my PC wanting. An Arthurian age thief was useless in a high-tech dungeon. Pick a lock? She couldn't figure out the keypads. Search for the traps? Oops! Missed seeing the infrared sensors. What about helping in combat? Robots ignored the throwing knives. Probably because they weren't magic dwarven made knives. In between setting off IR traps and not having anything useful to do, I started to think of ways to kill the campaign. Why rage quit when I could be a passive-aggressive teenager? This is when Operation No One Shows was formulated. The plan was for me to convince the other players, my 2 friends, not to show up again. I wasn't going to show up anymore anyway. Then an opportunity to end it all arose in game. We found the control room for the nuclear missiles. It was described as having an odd table with buttons of many colors in several rows. One purple button was blinking slowly. I wonder what it does, I said out loud while thinking, please be self-destruct, please be self-destruct, please be self-destruct. The little girl thief pushed the pretty blinking button, and a woman's voice started counting down. The player of the Goodly Black Knight of Slaughter went crazy. Fearing I'd pushed a self-destruct button, he hacked apart the console with his +4 greatsword some dwarf made for him. The attack on the console prevented Bruce Lee, the Necromage, from pushing a button marked in the language of the ancients as abort. Sadly, it wasn't self-destruct. It was just a launch button. Up into the clear afternoon of the fantasy medieval sky went a nuclear-armed missile. Dice rolled ones and the missile malfunctioned and randomly landed on Camelot with the king in residence. Then the bomb went boom. With Camelot a radioactive slag heap, the GM sent us home so he could regroup. Over the next couple days, I implemented Operation No One Shows, playing the Who's Your Friend card, and upped the ante with I'll Run Tunnels and Trolls. As GM, I was too Monty Hall, but I did get bit by the GM bug and have been a GM for more games than as a player.
Nice.
Mr. Natural Charisma and I did give that GM another shot. This time, I was going to play a knight. In fact, both our PCs were knights and close friends. We were starting with squires. We're starting with squires, men-at-arms, heavy horses, and ideas of high adventures. Insert sound of needles scraping across a vinyl record.
No, records are what we had before CDs were around.
Actually, they were before. They predated tapes
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
Tapes, yeah.
They were-
They sell those now. It's hipster stores. That's how we know.
You know people don't buy CDs anymore either.
No, that's
I know.
true. Yeah.
Right? Just check.
Actually, they're buying vinyl now.
That's true.
Yeah, we're back again.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were bait and switched. The well-known equipped knights lost most. Oh, I'm sorry. I ruined the timing there. Insert sound of needles scraping across the vinyl record. We were bait and switched. The well-equipped knights lost most of their men and equipment, then shipwrecked on Dinosaur Island. The GM had used his brand new Saurians, Dinosaurs, and Intelligent Saurian Races sourcebook for chivalry and sorcery. Post-shipwreck, our characters were chased by several different hungry giant dinos. After being told I was never allowed to ride a Triceratops, I would never be allowed to ride a Triceratops into battle. Another Operation No One Shows brought the campaign to an end. At the time, I was not disappointed in myself or my actions. Even now, I am not. I stated multiple times what I wanted. A playable character that was equal to the other two PCs.
Yes, thank you.
However, the GM was more interested in currying favor with the other two than providing us with an enjoyable campaign. From this, I learned a lot, mostly what not to do as a GM.
Yeah.
I remind myself that players who are marginalized will sulk, scheme, and ruin a campaign for their own entertainment. My two friends did enjoy themselves while I was displeased. The three of us are still close friends, and they game at my table. As for Cupcake, I refuse to play another game, other in any game he ran. P.S. 30 years later, my wife banned that Cupcake from our house for not shutting up about his overtly strong political views while he is a guest in our house. P.P.S. That made for 3 old gamers she had on the banned list. I joke with her that limit is 2 bannings. She agreed. So Joe is no longer banned. Yay, Joe. Great. Congratulations, Joe. P.P.S. You're overdue a drink.
Yeah.
Drink.
Especially Kim who read all that.
All right.
You know what? Well written email. Thank you. That was so entertaining.
Fantastic.
It
That
brings
was
me
awesome.
back to
Yep.
boy. I feel like I'm playing Chivalry and Sorcery again.
That's amazing.
I've played Chivalry and
It's a-
Sorcery since I was 15.
I actually bought the game. I don't know, 20 years ago or so. Something shortly before I got back into this again because I kind of remember it being a really cool Arthur. I mean, it's basically
there were
your
cool
knights.
things you could do with it.
Yeah.
Knights and castles,
but
and
not that.
not that.
No. Yeah.
Did you ever play Pendragon?
No.
I I
might own
tried
it, though.
3 times to play Pendragon and could not get a group to hang together for it. I want to play Pendragon so bad.
That's what it kept reminding me of.
Yeah.
was
Well, what I
Pendragon.
remember most about the Chivalry and Sorcery game was the magic system, which was not fully fleshed out, but really cool. But basically, and it's something I want to steal, which is if you wanted to create a fireball, you had to create move air, summon fire,
kinda
and
like
combine it into a spell.
GURPSy.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
But you basically had to, and you had to work up these spells. So you had to master 2 or 3 different spells to create a different kind of spell. And you and the GM would talk, and that was the spell that you would have to
Yeah.
come
That's
up
cool.
with. It was really cool, but also very complicated because, you know, I'm summoning air, I'm shaping, I'm
Yeah.
crawling
Doing
fire,
the
I'm
thing.
shaping it. So all these are involving dice rolls. Now I'm moving it.
Right. Takes 5 dice rolls just to put the thing together.
Yeah, yeah.
And if one of them goes wrong,
Yeah.
That blows up in your face.
Yeah.
I want to play Pendragon.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think that's a
Cool.
wrap.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
All
Good,
right.
good
Yeah.
Kimmy.
Yay.
Yeah. So, wait, I have to do the thing. Wait.
Do the thing.
It's not happening.
I don't think it's the right one. I can tell by the look on
I
your
hear
face.
it.
No, you hear it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
In here. In here. In my ear. In the bud.
I don't hear it.
I hear it. Do you guys hear it?
Oh, there it is. Wait, we're gonna start. Okay, that was muted. Sorry, I muted that.
All right. Fair
We'll
enough.
do it again. Wait, I
All
can
right,
do it.
okay,
I can do it right.
And seamlessly go.
Okay, wait, okay, do it again. Take 2. Okay. There you go.
Here now.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Happy Jacks RPG podcast. My name is Kimmy.
My name is Gina.
okay.
Star.
Please tune in, and we're gonna have a bunch of APs coming
Yeah.
up soon.
Yeah.
And this has been season 20, episode 6, and we will leave you with a song. I hope, if I can figure that out, it'll be great.
It'll be yours.
Dungeons and Dragons. Hero Pathfinder, fatal savage worlds. Evil plots will be usurping. Though we could do with less burping. Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebag song.
When Saturday night did come, me boys, they wouldn't then go out. These 3 drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. Then up jumps bouncing Sally, her cheeks as red as a bloom. Oh, over my fair sister, and give young Sally some room. For I'll be your equal before that we go out. These 4 drunken maidens, they push the jug about. There's woodcock and pheasant, there's partridge and hare, there's all sorts of dainties, so scarcity was there. There's 40 quarts of beer, me boys, they fairly drunk them out. These 4 drunken maidens, they
preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.